In this video, we're looking at the people the internet made famous, only to turn against them once the novelty wore off. By the end, you'll see how viral fame can go from life-changing to humiliating once people start asking why someone was famous in the first place. Also, remember to subscribe if you enjoy these creator downfall compilations. Today's video begins with Lily Tino. What happens when a creator tries to rage bait the entire internet? Well, in most cases, they end up like Lily Tino, who went from having the support of hundreds of thousands of people for their transition to becoming one of the most hated TikTokers of all time, and in many people's eyes, rightfully so. What started as a discussion on trans rights turned into them harassing minimum wage service workers to farm content.
Okay, the Sweetwater starts at, okay,
I'm so sorry, I apologize.
It's just always like a knife. It always hurts every single time.
Filming in women's bathrooms without others' consent, and discussing topics at Disneyland not appropriate for the children around them.
I think Disney's gonna ban me for this one. My corn dog is still intact. I'm not happy about that, but sadly it takes a long time to turn a corn dog into a inverted corn dog.
Lily Tino's spiraling TikTok career can only be described as a series of bad choices that alienated everyone, including the people that made them famous in the first place. They had every opportunity to scale back their antics, apologize, and promise to do better, but Lily Tino chose to double down until there was no one left in their support.
You know, I'm not here to hurt anybody. I'm always going to be a confrontational person, but I think there's ways to do it that are not channeling the anger I feel at the world for hurting me. So to that end, I'm gonna take a break.
And now, they might even get banned from their favorite place on top of losing their career. Before they became the viral trans TikToker hated by everyone, Lily Tino was 27-year-old Nicholas Contino, who came out as a transgender woman to his boss and colleagues in 2020. Their peers were quite supportive and even encouraged them to share their transition with the rest of the world online. Lily took their advice and started posting on TikTok. What none of them realized, however, was just how effective this was going to be, as Lily Tino went viral with just their 5th video on the platform, with it getting over 9 million views. More importantly, the comment section of this video was filled with people offering their support to Lily. Over time, they also started calling themselves a food critic and began live streaming their experiences at restaurants. Lily Tino and their chat would also try to end most streams with a heartwarming gesture by pitching in to come up with a huge tip for Lily's server.
My audience came together and put together a little tip for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you guys so much. It's very sweet. Oh my goodness, I don't know what to say.
Do you want to know how much it is?
No, I'm afraid to ask.
Do you want me to write it down for you?
Oh my god, you guys. That is so sweet. Oh.
So far, so good, but one of these wholesome live streams was about to become the starting point of their downfall. This incident took place at a cheesecake factory where Lily was enjoying a meal with their dog, when a woman next to Lily's table started confronting them out of nowhere, declaring herself as a TERF.
You know I'm a TERF, right? Trans eccentric radical feminist.
Are you a TERF?
I'm a TERF.
Wow.
A TERF, for those who don't know, is someone who identifies as someone that hates transgender people. And true to her label, this woman was out to get Lily in any way she could.
Oh.
Would you like me to move somewhere else? I will.
No, actually, you should tell me about being a TERF.
You're a boy, right? Don't fuck with me, because honestly, I did hard.
Lily ended up posting this encounter on their TikTok, which quickly became the most popular video on their account, and drummed up even more support for them, with comments like, "She thought she did something. I love your composure. I would have gone nuts." And "I'm so sorry, you handled this so well." However, as this video gained more traction, people started noticing some odd things about it, like the abrupt cuts in the video, which could have hid some of Lily's response to the woman that might have riled her up even more. Some even accused the video of being completely staged in its entirety, with a comment going into more detail about why it felt fake, stating, "The first video with the TERF screaming in the restaurant, it feels fake to me. Like the person going off screen and screaming out of nowhere. I'm wondering if this was set up by Lily. It would have been easy to have their mum or friend at another table, make a scene, and never return to that restaurant. That looked like a fancy place. No one is going to start yelling. They'd complain to the manager quietly." And while these comments faded into obscurity, they managed to sow the seeds of doubt into their viewers' minds. This eventually opened the door for even more skepticism about Lily's seemingly pure on-camera personality, though most people still gave them the benefit of the doubt. That is, until Lily started becoming a bit more obvious with their rage bait videos. You see, after the success of their video documenting the encounter with the TERF lady, Lily's content started making a subtle shift. They were still posting their food rating videos, but the content that was getting them the most views was their misgendering videos. In these videos, Lily would post incidents where restaurant staff and waiters called them sir, largely by accident, leading to Lily getting visibly upset and often complaining to the manager.
It looks like he's having a nice feast.
She, her.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all good.
But it was not all good.
Hi. I use she, her pronouns. I'm not sir.
Oh, so sorry.
Yeah, like it's like a knife in the heart. I did specifically ask ahead of time not to be called sir.
On the surface, these videos seemed educational, designed to teach their viewers how it feels to be misgendered.
Can you call me sir? Hey, I just want to tell you that the person who gave me this called me sir.
What?
Called me sir.
Oh.
It's just like, it kind of just hurts a lot to get called sir.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay.
Very good. Thank you so much. No, yeah. Thank you. I'm not a sir. Nothing like a good misgendering. It is a knife in the gut when I get called sir. I feel like I need to tell him. I need to tell him that hurt. It hurts more, though, and it's not intentional, because it means like this is sir to him. I know you didn't mean it, but I'm not a sir.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I know you didn't mean it. It's just, it hurts. I know when people clock me, it's fine, but like, it does kind of hurt. Thank you. I'm not sir.
Oh, sorry.
Not sir. Not sir. But the guy who dropped the food off, he called me sir twice in a row.
Okay. I'll let him know that, and GM as well.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
But as more and more of them started popping up, their audience started getting visibly annoyed at their treatments of the waiters, with people commenting, "My god, you're so sensitive," and "Why speak with a manager and make people feel even more guilty for misgendering you? It's going to happen, get over it." People also pointed out that most of these workers are probably on a minimum wage working long hours, and judging from their accents, many didn't sound like English was their first language, so most of them probably didn't mean to misgender Lily Tino. Regardless of some pushback, these videos were incredibly successful at gathering attention from the internet, with the views on Lily's TikToks ascending into the millions. However, it wouldn't take long for this attention to turn into a curse for Lily, because some people saw how upset Lily got at being misgendered and decided to farm it for entertainment by openly taunting them in the public.
Is it a 10 out of 10, sir? I don't know, it's exclusive.
Oh, would you like to show your faces?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to say that to the camera? Hundreds and hundreds of people watching you?
Me right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no.
No, go ahead. You just called me a man. Don't be a coward. Don't be a coward.
And while many people were still on their side through all of this, they would all turn on them eventually when a disturbing discovery about their past came to light. In April 2024, a Twitter user by the name of Riley posted some screenshots of Lily Tino's disturbing Reddit posts and conversations from when they were 18, including Lily Tino's recounting of an inappropriate encounter they had when they were just 3 years old with another girl of the same age, and framing it as something erotic. There's also a Reddit post I found where Lily posted a picture doing blackface with Nutella, and when someone called them out for it, they responded with, "It's funny, geez, lighten up guys." These racist and straight up PDF-philic posts highlighted Lily's hypocrisy, considering how most of their popular content on TikTok was berating minimum wage workers for mistakenly calling them sir. Riley's Twitter post also featured a screenshot where someone was discussing how Lily had become desperate enough to try and recreate their Cheesecake Factory moment, and that they were going to choose Disneyland as the place to catch another turf and get them ejected for more attention. And while they might have been wrong about some details, their prediction about the stunt taking place at Disneyland was spot on, but even they couldn't have guessed how perverted the stunt was going to be. As during Lily's most recent trip, they decided to explain how sex change operations worked while sitting at a restaurant in Disneyland in front of children.
I'm gonna get banned from Disney. I swear, we're about to get banned from Disney. Last summer, I got my cake pops removed, and the plan up until recently was to get my marshmallow wand reconfigured into a marshmallow tunnel.
Naturally, Lily's audience were disgusted by this behavior and were quick to push back, with comments like, "This is actually gross, not a place to be talking about that stuff." And "This is disgusting. You could have done that in a million other places than a child's wonderland. You need to be banned and registered." But even if you disregard the fact that Lily is talking about this in Disneyland, wearing Disney merch and sitting in a public place that's surrounded by children, you can't ignore that they posted this video on TikTok, a platform that nowadays is also dominated by children. The controversy surrounding this video also made people rediscover one of their older videos, where Lily impersonated the wholesome kids character, Miss Rachel, presumably to attract children to the video and tell them about the same stuff.
Hi friends! Today we're going to talk about something super important, what it means to be transgender. It's a big word, but I promise that it's easy to understand.
And to say people weren't happy about this would be an understatement. The fact that you chose to only do this at an amusement park around kids tells me what I need to know about you. Lily even managed to turn a large portion of the trans community against them, with comments like, "Disrespectfully, you're the reason people hate us," and "No way you're doing this again. You harm our community so much by being so inappropriate as to talk about your privates and SRS at Disney around children. I do not and will never accept you in our community," getting thousands of likes. But the only thing Lily cared about by this point was to get as much engagement and by extension money as possible. Now, it's unclear if they were just being stupid or wanted to take things to the next level. What is clear, however, is that Lily's next stunt single-handedly marked the end of their career on TikTok. On the 2nd of June 2025, Lily would upload a TikTok titled Bathroom Tea, which showcased a slideshow of Lily taking selfies in every bathroom in Disneyland. The purpose of these images was to rank each bathroom in terms of safety for transgenders. But while Lily found most of them safe, the same probably couldn't be said for the other people in there. As a comment with over 300,000 likes states, "I felt safe. Girl, no one else did though, because in most of these selfies, Lily captured multiple other people in the background without their consent." Which wasn't just weird, it was potentially straight up illegal. One angry viewer threatened to report Lily to Disneyland so they could never step foot in one of their establishments again, writing, "Hey, so this is illegal in the state of Florida, and I am sending this, as well as your corn dog video, to Disney. I have already spoken on the phone with them about this, and they have requested the links for video proof," which also means you would be banned from Disney cruises, since you have made it known that that's the next trip you're going to beg other people to pay for. Of course, Lily took this entirely the wrong way, coming out with another TikTok where they tried to diminish their actions with a classic case of whataboutism.
Those Disney bathroom selfies got y'all real upset, huh? Saying, "Oh, Lily, you can't take selfies in the bathroom, it's not appropriate." Well, let me remind you that literally every celebrity you've ever enjoyed on screen has at one point taken a bathroom selfie. For example, And it's not just celebrities. Any woman you ever meet has likely taken a photo in a public bathroom. Why, you ask? Because we look cute and we want to document it.
And even tried to turn this into a trans issue instead of something they personally did wrong.
Easy answer here is, oh, Lily, you're a trans woman, so you get held to a different standard. And that is true. But people judge trans women differently depending on how well they pass. If you pass, that means you don't look trans. I know that I don't pass. Trust me, I know. But passing privilege is a real thing.
Lily Tino clearly missed the actual point of the criticism here. It wasn't about whether or not they should be allowed to take a mirror selfie because they don't pass. It's that Lily took these mirror selfies with other people in the background. People who probably didn't consent to having their face posted on the internet for everyone to see. Now, there's a good chance Lily knows exactly why they were being criticized, especially since the whole point of their ranking system was to show how, quote, safe these bathrooms were, meaning Lily was actually rating the people inside, not the bathrooms. But instead of shedding light on the real issue, they reverted back to their rage bait nature, trying to get even more engagement on their TikToks by crying about abuse. However, it backfired completely, with no one coming to Lily's support this time. But being shunned by their own audience was about to become the least of Lily's worries, because just a couple of days later, Lily was sued by at least 2 women for their pictures at Disneyland, one of which was the mother whose child appeared in the background of these photos. But even this was just the beginning of Lily's troubles, because as it turned out, this controversy reached the Florida Attorney General's office as well, prompting them to launch a criminal investigation into Lily's actions. If convicted, Lily could face up to 5 years in prison and a $5,000 fine under Florida's strict privacy statutes, which prohibits unauthorized photography in a setting where people expect a reasonable degree of privacy. Lily's rage baiting and degenerate behavior had finally caught up to them. They responded to the news on TikTok looking utterly defeated, though still in denial.
So the whole point of why I do what I do, which is create content, is to educate and to entertain.
And still clinging onto the victim card.
You know, I'm not here to hurt anybody. I'm always going to be a confrontational person, but I think there's ways to do it that are not channeling the anger I feel at the world for hurting me. So to that end, I'm gonna take a break.
Since then, there have been no new uploads on Lily's channel, as they seem to be sticking to their word about taking a break, which Lily claims is for their own insanity, but it's most likely on the orders of their lawyers until the lawsuits can be resolved. Regardless of the reason, the internet as a whole couldn't be happier about them leaving the platform, just so they don't have to see Lily belittle any more underpaid restaurant workers, or watch them explain SRS at Disneyland. But as their story has reached more people, it has given rise to multiple theories trying to explain their reasoning for behaving this way, one of the most popular of which claims that Lily has just been cosplaying as a woman ever since they started posting on TikTok. This argument stems from the fact that it's been 3 years since they first started talking about transitioning, but there have been no noticeable changes in Lily's physique or their voice.
In 2007, if you went to a grocery store or a salon or anywhere that sold magazines, there was one.
They claim that this is just what Lily is into and they have no intention of ever getting any surgery, which might actually have some truth to it, since so much of Lily's content, even before these disgusting videos at Disneyland, revolved around them explaining why they haven't been able to get the surgery. It might be Lily's way of offering excuses time and time again, when in reality they have no intention of ever actually transitioning, just so they can continue to farm videos of people misgendering them accidentally. Another popular theory is that Lily's initial intentions towards their content were actually quite pure, but as they started gaining fame online, they became addicted to attention, resulting in Lily creating rage bait videos that gradually became more and more intense as time went on. As the theory goes, it started with their turf video that went viral.
You know I'm a turf, right?
And then progressed to all their misgendering TikToks.
Looks like he's having a nice feast.
She, her.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all good.
Until finally evolving into their antics at Disney, which eventually got them pretty much kicked off the platform. Now, there's no way to actually prove which one, if any, of these theories is correct. But one thing's for sure, Lily's actions have managed to somehow unite the entire internet against them. Even the trans community and those who hate the trans community agree that Lily is exactly the type of person who gives trans people a bad name. At this point, it's unclear if Lily will ever return to TikTok, but considering that there's a petition with over 500,000 signatures to ban Lily from the platform permanently, along with a second petition to permanently ban them from Disney, which also has over 1,800 signatures, it's safe to say that the internet wants nothing to do with them. But Lily Tino was not the only person whose viral fame became impossible to sustain. You know what they say, fake it till you make it. However, in Lil Mabu's case, it's more like fake it till you lose almost everything. Mabu fell off for real. Boris being seen with Bonnie Blue to get his views up, only for him to get even lower than he used to. Mabu, please, you're better than this. Where are the bangers? This all begs the question, how did such a promising artist go from placing on global charts with over 8 million monthly listeners on Spotify to having a majority of his audience completely forget he exists? More importantly, is there any hope of him making a comeback, or will he continue to fade into obscurity? To say Mabu, aka Matthew Peter DeLuca, was an anomaly going into the New York drill scene would be a massive understatement. Not only for his appearance, but his background as well. Having grown up in an upper-class family in New York's most affluent neighborhoods and attending the prestigious collegiate high school, Mabu's life was a far cry from that of a traditional drill rapper, many of whom fuel their music with personal struggles and trials they encountered while living in less fortunate circumstances.
Matthew DeLuca, I go to the collegiate school. I'm in 9th grade, and my favorite thing about Kids Walk for MSK Kids is getting together with friends and family to support such a wonderful cause.
So how did someone like Mabu go from writing A-grade essays in school to making drill raps in the streets? Well, he didn't, at least not initially. When he first started uploading songs to YouTube around 2020, Mabu's music was more melodic than aggressive.
You miss me but never wanna link when we can. You used to diss me, now you wanna call me a friend. Had to go and run up on my bands. Shout out to my brother, shout out to the fam.
While this kind of music didn't get a mainstream attention initially, it struck a chord with fans and got a lot more people to root for him. As one viewer put it, Lil Mabu, your lyrics go hard, man, your song cuts deep into the heart. Mark my words, in the next 5 years, you'll grow exponentially. Just please don't go doing drugs or robbing people. Don't let the fame and money get to you. It's a tough life because you think you have to do something to stay big, but as long as you keep going with what you're doing, you should be alright. Although Mabu never truly lived the rough life, he would certainly take inspiration from it. Going into 2021, Mabu's style as an artist shifted from soft and relatable to something a bit more rough around the edges. With songs like Move It and Demon Time, Mabu dove headfirst into the high stakes and high risk world of drill rap.
Hey, that's my score! Yo. Don't cross me, I'm not Jesus. Run up a check, fingers they blue. You know the vibes, I stay with the crew. Quit talking, man, just make a move. I'm on the east side, zooming through the streets in a G5. Been running up a bag, I'm on demon time.
This sudden pivot in persona paid off immensely for Mabu's career. Not only was this the first video on his channel to crack 2 million views, but it also gave viewers a taste of something unusually captivating. There aren't many white rappers in the New York drill scene, even fewer who are as young and talented as Mabu. While this meant Mabu had immense potential to grow as an upcoming artist and build a fan base, the way he capitalized on that success would only harm his career in the long term. Going into 2022, Mabu wholly leaned into the gangster persona and featured several established drill rappers like DD Osama, Dusty Locane, and D-Thang on both his singles and newly released mixtape Double M's. In the music video for Throw, he even included a highly controversial scene glamorizing the harsh realities of street life. As shocking as the video was, it garnered over 30 million views and landed Mabu in the #1 trending spot on YouTube for a brief period. At this point, Mabu had realized controversy was the key to drawing viewers, and he was more than ready to capitalize on that knowledge. For the next couple of months, Mabu promoted his music by uploading dozens of videos across social media, pretending to be a dangerous rapper in the most corny way possible.
Why you lacking? Lacking? What you mean, bro?
Like, oh, you know where you at right now? Like, bro, I really take everything off you, bro. Like,
I'm outside Dolly. You know Mabu's body, bro.
Yo, Mabu, like, what you got on you? Like, oh, he got the now.
While a significant portion of viewers enjoyed Mabu's over-the-top rapper personality, there was an equally large number of viewers who found his take on drill music distasteful, with comments like, "I am a Lil Mabu hater. I don't care what you say. I can't take any of his songs seriously. This man cannot possibly be talking about spinning the lot while he's some rich white dude in a private school," and posts such as, "Lil Mabu co-ops hood culture while simultaneously making a mockery and glorifying the violence and poverty that afflicts our communities. He raps about ops and spinning blocks, and then goes back to his mansion unharmed. Meanwhile, the young street ninjas making drill music are out here losing their lives over the blocks that rich white men own. Is ridiculous." These weren't the only negative concerns fans voiced about Mabu, as many speculated that he was an industry plant and that his rise to fame was manufactured by family members with powerful connections. Love him or hate him, Mabu was effortlessly using controversial situations to go viral on social media, and judging by his prior statements, it wasn't his first time doing so. Looking back at the comments of his previous music videos, Mabu states that he has experience with digital marketing and credits that experience as the reason he hasn't signed with a record label, reading, "Not many people know this, but I'm a digital marketer and publicist. I have no label and no management. I run companies for industry heavyweights, and this is how I fund my music / execute these promotional campaigns. I'm not the kid whose parents fund his music that most people think I am. I started up the agency back in April, and that's how I've funded my music ever since." By the start of 2023, Mabu's mastery of social media marketing had allowed him to reach a global audience and managed to put one of his greatest songs, Mathematical Disrespect, on the Billboard Hot 100's number 90 spot. Combined with the nearly 100 million views the song generated on YouTube, it's no wonder why Mabu was seen as the next big drill rapper. Mabu's rap career wasn't the only part of his life where he was experiencing immense success, as he would graduate from high school around the same time.
Matthew Peter DeLuca.
However, in the midst of this rapid growth, Mabu would stay away from his rap game for 2 months and return to viewers with this message.
"I just wanted to get on here and open up about my life the last couple months. As soon as I went to prom and I graduated high school, I finally had a moment to reflect on my evolution as an artist and my personal life and the sacrifices I've made to get to this point at a young age. And you know, I was fresh out of high school with a song on Billboard, artists I look up to start becoming my friends, gaining notoriety. Cool. But at what cost? I wasn't spending time with my family. I neglected meaningful friendships. I lost valuable moments of my childhood that I can't get back.
After taking time to reconnect with people in his personal life, Mabu stated that he was ready to get back into the rap game, but he would still be going to college alongside it.
I decided at the beginning of the summer to find some balance. I'm going to college. And they looked at me like I was crazy. They like, "Mabu, like, do you understand? Like, you're not a regular kid. You need to devote all your time to your career. You want to take the music seriously." Bro, I was like, "F you, watch this." And I worked so hard to get into the high school I was at, then applying out and getting into college, and I managed to do all of it while doing the music thing. So why would I pass this opportunity up now? For what?
Naturally, some audience members assumed that he wouldn't be able to keep up with the same intensity while going to college. However, Mabu proved both his dedication to music and academics by recording music with notable artists like NLE Chopper from his dorm room.
I'm meeting my new roommate.
Close out the year, Mabu collaborated with Krishan Rock on the song Mr. Take Ya Redacted, where he tried to start a beef with the rapper Blueface, with lyrics reading, "Yes, I took his lady, I like blue faces, so I took his baby." While the song did get significant notoriety and barely squeezed into the Billboard's top 100, it didn't spark the kind of controversy Mabu was looking for, as Blueface cut things short with a tweet that read, "Make sure y'all add Lil Mabu career to my resume. Why is your girl texting me every day, bro? What's she waiting feeding on. Even though Mabu's stunts were still bringing in considerable views and listeners, it was only a matter of time before his controversial gimmick would wear off, and people got bored of his rapper facade. Sadly, Mabu was going to find that out the hard way. By the 5th of April 2024, Mabu released his debut album, Young Genius, which featured a handful of top-tier rappers such as Lil Baby and Young Thug. By all accounts, this should have been Mabu's biggest release yet, but that wasn't the case. Despite the big-name features and heavy promotion on Mabu's end, the album failed to place on any of the recognized charts. To make matters worse, sales numbers were so poor that they were never revealed, and the album even received an 11 out of 100 review from the Album of the Year, with a commenter writing, "The bit is old bro, he has one joke in his music, and it's look, I'm a rich white kid, but I'm making music like I'm from the hood," whilst having the worst bars, corniest lyrics, cringiest vocals, and just overall having the tackiest songs ever. When faced with these declining metrics, Mabu turned to the thing that formed the foundation of his career: controversy. His first attempt at garnering attention this way manifested as Mabu pretending to shoot himself during a music video. On the 27th of June 2024, he moved on to something more elaborate and dropped the song Bang Bang, dissing the XXL freshman class for not including him in their annual list. When the diss track and music video stunt didn't get him the results he was looking for, Mabu stepped away from music for another several months, only to return with an even more desperate ploy for attention. Around March 2025, Mabu began gravitating towards the OF model Bonnie Blue, best known for her controversial 1000 Men in 24 Hours stunt, with a Mabu caption reading, "Her holes are for everyone, but her heart is mine." From going on a stage to dinner with Bonnie, to potentially doing explicit acts with her during an NBA game, Mabu was willing to do anything to bait the internet into engaging with his platform, but it wasn't going to work.
Video.
Boys seem to like the girls who laugh at anything. The one
She was tying my shoe. She was tying my shoe, NBA. Matthew, did you get banned from the NBA?
Yup, sure did. Looks like I won't be going to any more WNBA games either.
2 days later, Mabu released the song Bonnie Blue to capitalize on what little attention his stunts had garnered. However, the video would only get 2 million views and a very lukewarm response from fans. While Mabu's social media platforms are still showing positive growth, that said growth is nowhere near what it was a year ago and will likely go deep into the negative if he doesn't bring something fresh to the table. Mabu's entire music career and brand was built on the gimmick of being a privileged white kid cosplaying as a hardened drill rapper. For a while, it worked out well for him and brought in millions of viewers. But a gimmick can only last for so long. When the act began to grow stale, Mabu opted for adding even more controversy to the mix, but that only pushed viewers further away. Repeating the same routine with a few new stunts isn't going to get him back on the charts or sustain his career long term. There's no doubt Mabu is a talented rapper and marketer, but it doesn't look like that will be enough to make him the global superstar he was aiming to be. And when the internet turns a meme into a celebrity, the backlash usually arrives right behind the fame. Hayley Welch, aka the Hawk Tour Girl, is the perfect example of how to lose your entire audience as quickly as possible. From openly taking advantage of her fans, to lying during a Coffeezilla interview and denying any wrongdoing. It's no surprise that all of Hayley's social media stats are in the red and dropping fast. However, that decline seems to only be the beginning of Hayley's career downfall.
Thank you to all my true fans and all the people that actually watch my stuff and they keep up with me. We're trying to sort out all the pieces and stuff to like get all this figured out and make everything right. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
No, don't cry, don't cry. Don't cry, everything's gonna be good. We're gonna be good.
Around 2 months ago, I uploaded this video detailing Hayley's journey to online notoriety. However, the long and short of it is that Hayley is the type of person who can leverage her meme status to build a notable podcasting platform and then throw it all away for a crypto pump and dump.
Hey y'all, it's Hayley and I just want to say thank you for joining my space, and I also want to thank you for my 15,000 holders. We got snipe botted today, but we didn't sell a single token. This is just a launch, and I want to tell you I'm here to stay. The plan is to give these coins to my real fans, the ones that buy my merch, watch my podcast, donate to my charity. And I also wanted to tell you that I learned a lot along the way, but I just want to say screw the sniper bots and I'm not going anywhere.
Following her controversial crypto project, Haley completely disappeared from social media with the hope that the heat would die down eventually. Well, it seems Haley is ready to test the waters once again. On the 6th of February 2025, a new episode of the Hawk Tour podcast was leaked online, and fans got front row seats to Haley blaming everyone but herself for 40 minutes straight.
How do you feel?
I don't know, I'm still a little shook up about it.
How was the nap?
It's a very long nap. I would say. That's what sucks about it too. I had to read that off a phone and like put it in my words, and I was like, anywho, I'm going to bed.
This is mainly for me, and again, why I wanted to come here and talk about this is because millions of people are going to watch this. Everybody's kind of waiting to hear what you say. Everyone's kind of waiting to see how this plays out. And 99% of these people don't know shit about crypto. Just
and
like
I'm
you.
one of them.
Just like you, exactly.
I'm one of them.
Exactly. And the ongoing joke on CT right now is like, if she just did this 2 days after Trump, she'd be okay.
Exactly.
Which isn't necessarily true because of the way it was done. And that's kind of the whole point, right? There's a right and a wrong way to do this. And if you have interest, it's mostly important that your network and the people that you trust to walk into this market are exactly that, people that you can trust.
I think that's where I messed up.
For sure, for sure.
Unsurprisingly, the first few moments of the interview were dedicated to disarming viewers by making Haley look like the victim, even going as far as pretending to cry.
Thank you to all my true fans and all the people that actually watch my stuff and they keep up with me. We're trying to sort out all the pieces and stuff to like get all this figured out and make everything right. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
No, don't cry, don't cry. Don't cry, everything's gonna be good. We're gonna be good.
To give the interview some legitimacy, FaZe would preface the interaction by stating that transparency was their top priority.
Make sure that we address everything and get through all of exactly what happened. I think that it's really, really important at this point to be totally transparent about everything that happened with you and your partners and this launch and in crypto, and what makes this bad and what makes what Iggy Azalea is doing maybe even good, and what makes Trump's doing different, right? I want to get through all that. So I brought two guys that I live with and do this crypto shit at a very high level. I brought Thread Guy, he's the biggest streamer in crypto, and I brought Frank D Gods, who launched a very successful project last cycle, and he trades at a very high level. He's one of the best trencher trader guys. These guys are really, really sharp, and they know this market inside and out. And most importantly, they have front-facing brands, and their faces are everywhere, and we're all docs, and we all have to move militant, and we're all super, super passionate.
Considering the gravity of the situation and the damage Haley had caused to her audience, you'd think she'd put repairing her career over profit. But that wasn't the case. Briefly, 5 minutes into this career-defining interview, Haley shamelessly inserted a sponsored segment meant to further profit off the fans whom she'd already taken millions.
Alright, you guys, I only got one sponsor left because there's some real ones and they've stuck with me since every bit of this started. Game Time believes in me, y'all, and I believe in them.
Game Time's more loyal than most of y'all's mans out here.
Yeah, some of those guys just leave at the first opportunity they get. Not Game Time.
Hell yeah, this podcast ain't going nowhere, and neither are them Game Time deals.
Despite openly prioritizing her own financial gain over fans, Haley would describe her reasons for creating and promoting the Hawk token as more altruistic.
So,
Explain.
This idea got brought to me like months ago, and I was kind of, I don't want to do that. I don't know anything about it, and I've never heard the space is a good place to be. So I was like, I don't know about it. Which, we trusted the guy that come to us. He was a friend of, I don't know, a friend of a friend, I guess you can put him. That was my biggest mistake.
Yeah,
I probably should have looked into him.
We heard a little bit about him. Apparently he had like a pretty strong network in LA and kind of used that as leverage to, you know, give himself a vouch. And I think the guy probably more or less overstated his qualifications in executing something like this, fair to say?
Yes.
Which is usually the case.
In addition, Haley threw everyone else under the bus as she painted her former collaborator, Doc Hollywood, as a shady individual and called her critic, CoffeeZilla, a scary person to converse with.
CoffeeZilla got on there. Yeah, scary guy, let me tell you. Don't ever want to have a conversation with him.
We're a little bit more charitable than Coffee. I think Coffee kind of has a little bit of disdain for crypto in general. Us, on the other hand, we live and breathe it every day. We want to see crypto succeed. We do it every single day. But Coffee definitely, like, you know what I mean? He's definitely asking the right questions. It's the way that he asks them, maybe, is why you guys can't really like
Yeah.
find a spot to like talk or have like any sort of conversation with each other. But we actually did talk to him. We had a conversation with him, and he gave us some broad questions to share and ask you. They're good questions.
Oh, that scares me if they come from him.
No, don't worry about it. Don't be scared.
He's such a scary guy.
Hailey's narrative made it out to seem that she was a passive observer who wanted nothing but the best for her fans. But the structure of her business deal with Doc Hollywood tells a different story.
Internet always wants to know is like, do they offer you money up front, part of the tokens? Like, how did that work? Like,
so the deal, I can speak to that. So the deal that she did was like a brand image likeness deal where they paid her $125,000 up front. They were supposed to pay her $200,000 after the launch of the coin within 30 days. She was supposed to have full transparency to tokenomics and everything going on, which they did stay in communication about it, but it just was an ever-evolving game plan, essentially. So back-end participation was to always be mutually agreed, and what they had agreed on in the tokenomics was there was a 10% allocation of the token that would be on a 1-year lock and then a 3-year drip after that. Of that 10%, half of that was supposed to go to the company that created the project and half was to go to her. So out of 100% of the token, she would have had 5% at the end.
Remember this statement from Hailey's team? It'll be important later. Circling back, Hailey's lawyer claimed that the contract with Doc Hollywood didn't match the tokenomics they were given, and stated the issue was only noticed after the fact.
This kind of all was happening even without you really knowing or having view on any of it until post. You know, you're handling the cleanup and trying to protect Hailey and trying to do right by Hailey now, but you didn't have the opportunity to like.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
I negotiated the contract with the company. We have like accounting transparency rules and requirements that I added to the contract. SEC compliance requirements I added into the contract that they would have to do as project manager. And so we continued to inquire all along the process about the tokenomics. It was a kind of a shifting narrative and explanation of tokenomics. The most recent tokenomics that were given to us prior to the launch had the pre-sale investors being on a 1-month lock with a 1-year drip after that. That's pretty obvious on chain that didn't happen. But 80% of the supply is still in control. The dev still controls 80%.
And who are they?
I do not know who the dev is. That was never disclosed.
The contract already reeks of mismanagement. Tokenomics wasn't accurately discussed. Hailey's team didn't even know who was creating the product they were shilling. And apparently, most of it is still controlled by unknown individuals. Which leaves a clear question. How on earth did they think the project would work out well?
What was the pre-sale structure exactly?
I'm not certain to the structure of the pre-sale. There was a 17% allocation. Most of the pre-sale investors, my understanding is, were based in Asia.
Okay.
And there was, again, supposed to be a 1-month lock with a 1-year drip after that.
And how much was raised for that 17%?
2.8 million.
Despite Hailey and her team's gross incompetence, FaZe thought the real issue with the token was that people were calling it a scam and making crypto look bad.
And then obviously we've seen this story a million fucking times, right? So we more or less know what happens. The issue for you is the millions and millions of people who farmed views off this and made stories about this and covered it. Your average fan, the average fucking middle America 16-year-old kid who's a fan of you, just sees crypto scam, which is again another huge part of the conversation that I'm passionate about, where it's just like crypto already has this bad rap, and it's because of things like this, and it's because the onboarding process is flawed, the barrier to entry is flawed. You probably don't even understand half of what's being talked about right now. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's a real language barrier, and the point is like, if you have no business in crypto, you probably shouldn't be in.
Even though most of the interview's talking points were focused on sympathizing with Hailey's poor introduction to crypto, her co-host thankfully brought up some ways she could help the people who were actually scammed by the token.
But I think if you took all the money that you made from the deal, whatever, and just like bought back the coin and then locked it up, I feel like that's a very like clear action that you can make, back to the community. And I think that would just like stamp it and the community can run with it. So That's like the idea that we were talking
As far
about.
as narrative goes and a gesture, I mean, you just fucking nailed that, by the way. And that would, you mentioned it earlier, 125,000 plus 100,000, or what did I hear?
Yeah, so
How much total money has been received due to this?
125,000 has
Been received. Yeah. Basically what Frank just said in normal people terms is you take every dollar that you made on this and you mark it by this token and you lock it up. You walk away from it. You don't ever see that money. You can never touch it again. And you say, I'm not gonna talk about this every day, whatever, but I'm gonna stand on business. I put my face on this. I'm accepting the responsibility that this happened. And hopefully, you know, everybody is made whole at some point.
When presented with such a clear way to start undoing the havoc they caused, one would imagine Haley's team would gladly take the opportunity, especially after they claimed to have good intentions from the start. Unfortunately, Haley's team had other plans, as they took advantage of the hype around the interview to briefly pump the price of Hawk and sell some of the token. Almost immediately after, FaZe published a tweet completely disavowing the interview, reading, "So in an attempt to hear Haley Welch's side of the crypto scam story, I agreed to do her first podcast back. I had heavy stipulations, including 1. Not allowing markets to be manipulated by leaking this episode's existence before a resolution was found. 2. Her team finding a real solution regarding the money she made, where that should go, and what to do with the Hawk project moving forwards. These were non-starters, and we were already told this episode would only ever see the light of day if we explicitly greenlit it." FaZe would also expose the reason why the podcast was leaked in the first place, reading, "We noticed a random spike in volume on the coin, along with random messages asking if we did the podcast. Very clearly, her team was not as solid as they claimed to be. Now today, the episode randomly gets leaked, the price of Hawk is pumping, and they completely effing fumbled the bag yet again. What a effing mess. Poor girl. It's a wonder how she found herself in this position in the first place. Now, Haley Welch, I'm gonna speak to you directly and say the exact same thing I said to you on Spaces that night. Fire everybody, your team's redacted." Once again, Haley let her greed and lack of concern for fans get the better of her, and just like before, it landed right in CoffeeZilla's crosshairs. By the 8th of February 2025, CoffeeZilla published a video titled "Hawk Tour is Back," which discussed the disastrous state of Haley's career and revealed some exclusive information about what's been going on behind the scenes.
I got on there. That scary guy, let me tell you, don't ever want to have a conversation with him.
Whoa, don't ever want to have a conversation with me. Guys, I'm not intimidating. I don't know what's the problem here. I'm Joe Rogan inches tall, guys. It's not a striking figure here you're gonna be scared of. If you meet me in person, you're not gonna be like, you know? Relax, it's fine, just get on the call. Let's have a conversation. I don't understand. And I also thought this was weird because Haley Welch's lawyer invited me on the show. In fact, like really wanted me on their show and kept telling me how much Haley Welch liked me. Hence the t-shirt, you know. I used to like CoffeeZilla until he wouldn't come on my podcast. Then he is, you know, Voldemort, and we can't mention him. He's scary. Watch out. Don't talk about CoffeeZilla. He's intimidating. Here's the message I got from her lawyer. Haley would like to have you on as a guest on her podcast. You'd be the first guest since the failed crypto token launch and would get significant amount of views, would be very friendly. This guy must not know me. She really likes you. Wow. I thought she didn't want to have a conversation with me. What gives?
While CoffeeZilla declined the podcast appearance, he still wanted to know what happened between Haley's team and Doc Hollywood before the token's launch.
I don't want to rehab someone's image who scammed people. And I really felt that questions had not been answered that should have been answered, such as, what was the agreement with Haley Welch and with Doc Hollywood? Very simple question, right? Basically, Haley Welch's position is, oh, I was a victim. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how much, I was barely gonna make money, 125K plus like, you know, half of 10% of the tokens, locked for a year, like this terrible deal I got taken advantage of by these monsters. Like that was kind of their position. And all I wanted to know was, you know, give me the contract. Show me that that is true. And unfortunately, they were not able to give it. He's not in a position to share it, he says. I'm sorry. I said, can't verify anything you say then. Even what you told me about the 50% split, which I had heard Hawk to a Girl was gonna make 50% of all the profits. And he kind of told me, no, that just applies to the tokens. So I was like, oh, well, maybe she's less of a stakeholder in this than I thought. I don't know.
After this, CoffeeZilla explained that he gave FaZe certain questions to ask Haley, since they wouldn't share the contract and stipulated that the podcast would remain a secret until some positive changes were made. As we've already discussed, that condition wasn't met, and Haley's team would claim it was an editing error.
The guys behind it, and they said it was an editor mistake. Oh, oops. Yes, the guys who interviewed us thought we may have insider traded the coin, but this guy says he vouches for the internal team, saying it was none of them. And Better, which is Jake Paul's team, I guess, no way they would ever do something like that, guys. Believe us. We will likely never know the info leak. The clip posting leak today was an accidental by Better's editor who had the episode in the YouTube queue waiting on approvals to release. Now, I don't know if this is true or false. I thought the weird thing about this video is that, like, everyone has had, anyone in media who's, like, had a sensitive episode recorded, you don't, like, do all the work if you think it might get canned. Like, obviously, right? These people not only edited the show, they put an ad in the leaked version of the episode, okay? So I'm not saying it didn't leak. I'm saying it's highly convenient.
While the leaked interview might have benefited Haley's team in the short term, it would ultimately come back to bite them, as it created some very obvious contradiction in their story, compared to the evidence from CoffeeZilla's investigation.
This is from Doc Hollywood himself, which, if you remember, is like the key guy. Here he is saying, we'll do best to make it as simple as possible. The pre-sale raise is 50-50 Project Haley. Fees for market making and LP is split between us and Haley 50-50. Now that's a very, very different story than I've been told up until this point. It wasn't 50-50 pre-sale. Like, that's millions of dollars pre-sale. The fees were millions of dollars, okay? Or like $1 million. And that's what I say. The story's very different. This guy says, I think you can safely distrust anything coming from Doc Hollywood's mouth. He's denying it. He's saying, that's not true. And then he says, look, I just can't have the contract published online, willing to let you see it with your own eyes, and saying that's why he was going to let me see it on the podcast. I said, well, these messages were prior to the failure of Hawk to a coin. So I don't understand why would Doc lie? Like, this isn't him saying it to cover himself later. It's him, like, talking in a chat with other insiders back then.
Naturally, Haley's team denied the evidence and tried to cover it up with a different explanation.
Haley would benefit from such a bad contract if what you said is true, and this is really how I feel. Half of 10% of tokens plus 125K makes 0 sense for someone who's bringing in all of the name recognition. Like, you're bringing the whole thing, and you're getting this, like, measly piece of the pie? It doesn't check out. Like, 125K is a lot of money, but they made, like, $4 million. So then he says this, the contract says she was paid 125K on signing, 200K within 30 days of launch. Interesting. We didn't know that. And 50% of the net proceeds of the project with mutually agreed upon tokenomics. The tokenomics we agreed to were for half of the 10% of the tokens. Now, I want you guys to realize that what he just said is backtracking on what he's been saying the entire time, which he's been saying the entire time, oh, it's just 50% of the 10%. 50% of the tiny amount of tokenomics we're gonna need. No, what he's saying here, finally, he's giving us the real story. It's 50% of the net proceeds of the project, period. That is completely different from what they've told me. And so I say 50% of the net proceeds does not mean half of 10%. It means 50% of net proceeds, which is market making, pre-sale. This is like $4 million that they talked about. And I don't know if he's just trying to play dumb here, but he goes, we were told by Memetic that MM fees and pre-sale funds were going to be used to run the project.
This led CoffeeZilla to the conclusion that they were downplaying their profit because it would likely implicate them legally.
And I'm just trying to say, like, you guys aren't the victims. I hope you guys are understanding that this is kind of my feeling in all this. They're trying to be like, oh, we barely made a dime. And that's just not true. Like, that's not what they stood to make. I said, what do you mean? You told me I could disregard what Doc said. Remember, he said, oh, you can disregard it. But y'all literally had a contract for 50% of net proceeds. Doc himself said the project was going to cost a few $100,000. If that's the case, pre-sale 2.8 million, fees 1 million, made almost $4 million. Y'all are contractually owed like 1.6 million. And then I shared another insider text I have from Doc Hollywood, where he says, what we can do is put a hard number to the side for the project as cost. Like we spent a few $100,000 on the project already. That money will be paid back to us off top. Then the profit is paid out. If a few $100,000 is what it costs and the profit's paid out, who's the profit entitled to? Hawk Tuah Girl! That's who it is. And we're all being gaslit about like, oh, I'm the victim. I stood to make no money. Wrong. You wanted to make no money after you realized the money is like being scrutinized and being sued over and possibly being looked into by law enforcement. Like, we don't know.
Seeing no other way of denying it, Haley's team would admit that they were entitled to some of the profits, a revelation that discredited everything they said on the podcast.
You're right that as it stands, she may be entitled to whatever amounts. However, she was supposed to have mutual approval on tokenomics. Her not being given the opportunity to approve the transaction fee SAFs and pre-sale identities led to the end result. So literally he's admitting that he's been not telling the truth about how much money they stood to make. You're right, she may be entitled to millions of dollars from a scam? Like, what?
Regardless of what Haley and her team say, the fact of the matter is that they were willing to act dishonestly with the people who were trying to help them remedy the situation. They only care about the fans when it bolsters Haley's public image, and they would have gladly taken the profits from the token if it didn't come with the possibility of jail time. Fortunately for Haley, she isn't going to have to worry about facing any legal consequences, as the SEC would drop their charges against her the following month. Her attorney gave TMZ the following explanation for the investigation's closure, reading, "The SEC closed the investigation without making any findings against or seeking any monetary sanctions from Haley. Because they did not bring any action against her, there are no restrictions on what she can do in regards to crypto or securities in the future. With her legal troubles out of the way, Haley must have felt that she could put everything behind her and return to her usual podcast uploads." Sadly for Haley, the internet wasn't going to let her off the hook that easily. On the 8th of April 2025, Haley uploaded the 16th episode of the Talk Tour podcast and brought on KSI as the main guest.
Okay, well, welcome back to another episode of Talk Tour. It's been a hot minute since we've been back here, but now we're the official owners of Talk Tour. And we may or may not have flew to London to get a very special guest for you. We got KSI.
Yo, live in the flesh, baby.
It was one thing to shamelessly crawl back to the audience you stole from, but it was another story to give them one of the most uninteresting interviews on the internet.
Yeah, I think it's better if I'm alive and healthy. Health is the most important thing. You know, more than money, more than family, etc.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you want to be there for your family, you gotta be healthy. So
Gotta be good.
yeah.
You ever think I could box?
Would you want a box?
I actually do want to box.
Really?
You gotta give her some tips.
Yeah, I need some tips.
Throughout the interview, Haley and her co-host barely asked any worthwhile questions, and completely relied on KSI's presence to carry the interview, something fans were quite willing to point out, with a comment reading, "When the guest has to carry the conversation on a podcast, you know it's cooked." Overall, the video was poorly received by users, with thousands of dislikes and one of the lowest view counts on her channel despite having such a high-profile guest. However, the negative reception didn't stop Haley from releasing another episode a few days later. Unfortunately, the outcome would remain the same, if not worse, with a commenter stating, "She got a taste of success on the internet, ruined it with shitcoins. Now she's gonna be chasing getting 10k views on a video until she says fuck it and starts an OF." Haley clearly wanted to have her cake and eat it too. Even after milking her audience with a scam coin, she still thought it would be possible to return to them and be welcomed with open arms. Unfortunately, things don't work that way on the internet, and no matter how much Haley desperately wants to prolong her 15 minutes of fame, it truly seems her time is up. But not every viral figure disappears quickly. Some keep trying to stretch the moment until people turn on them. Bobby Eltoff is allegedly an e-celebrity that is on a relevancy downward spiral, despite what feels like an endless effort by multinational media companies to keep her relevant. Since her days of interviewing massive figures like Drake, Mark Cuban, and Shaq, Bobby has tried, keyword tried, to launch several podcasts that have failed so badly one couldn't even get 500 views within an hour.
Do you remember how well I was doing 2 years ago.
You were huge,
Yeah,
and now you feel irrelevant,
I am.
obsolete,
Yeah.
unpopular,
Uh-huh. Yeah, thank you.
broke,
I'm all of those
tossed
things.
aside.
All while this is happening, different tabloids have been running sympathetic pieces framing her declining popularity as a reset and a fresh new start. Even the people she interviews comment on how bad she's failing. Kevin Durant even told her it to her face.
You the hottest out.
I was what?
You were the hottest white girl out at the time. I don't know, but you were kind of hot for
That, and then they just all thought it was me.
Through all of this, she often gets emotional and breaks down over what's being said about her and her boyfriend, which only adds to the sense that things aren't going the way she'd hoped. For those of you that don't know anything about Bobby, consider yourself lucky. Bobby first gained attention on TikTok making parenting content with her husband. The videos were simple and a little awkward, but that awkward delivery became her appeal. She leaned into dry humor and a blunt tone that made people stop and watch. With consistent posting, she grew quickly, reaching over 3 million followers between 2021 and 2023. Her content during that stretch felt built around going viral while staying accessible to a wide audience. In April 2023, she moved into podcasting with the Really Good Podcast. An early interview with Colleen Ballinger showed how her style could create tension, but it was her conversation with Funny Marco that really took off. That episode spread across social media and brought in millions of views, helping define her as someone who could turn uncomfortable moments into viral content. It is almost uncanny that this exact phenotype of a person would catch on and become an actual type of personality that people nowadays make fun of. Not exactly to a T, but the deadpan, zoomer words were definitely a foundation for this type of person.
Wait, I'm screaming. Wait, same. Oh. Literally. Wait, it's giving icon. No, because you're giving diva. Clock it, clock it.
Everything escalated when she landed an interview with Drake. The way she spoke to him was with her same deadpan character that seemed to keep Drake entertained throughout the interview. It pulled in around 10 million views and brought a surge of attention to her platform. At that point, it seemed like she could book almost anyone. At the same time, the interview sparked criticism. Some viewers felt her tone came off as flirtatious, and one moment where she said she was missing her daughter's first birthday to sit with him drew particular backlash.
You missed your daughter's first birthday.
To be here.
Dark. Regret that you'll never be able to undo.
Yeah.
Horrible parenting.
Around that point, her husband had already filed for divorce, which led to speculation about her personal life. There were also questions about how the interview came together so quickly, especially after she signed with the same agency that represents Drake. This momentum from Drake didn't last, and her interview with Offset marked a shift. Instead of controlling the conversation, she was met with the exact same energy she usually gave her guests. He pushed back, joked at her expense, and changed the tone entirely.
You need a little bit of seasoning. You ain't got no seasoning, man. You like a plain piece of chicken just on the thing, you pull it off, and then you serve the dish. You need some motherfucking seasoning, man. Damn, I'm trying to get you to play. You lost in the sauce. You ain't shaking my hand. We finna get you to 25 million. You know what I'm saying? Just a little sprinkle.
Have a great day,
of seasoning.
Offset.
Just a little seasoning.
All right, you can leave now.
This is my hotel. I paid for this motherfucker. You can leave now.
While the clips went viral, the reaction leaned against her. Many viewers enjoyed seeing her on the receiving end, and it showed the growing fatigue with her approach. By early 2024, her views had already dropped sharply, with a mounting criticism including accusations that her rise felt manufactured. Her responses also often made things worse, as pushing back at critics and dismissing feedback added to the perception that she was out of touch. In September 2025, she relaunched her podcast and surprised people by bringing Drake back for another interview. The new interview performed well and briefly brought her back into the spotlight. Even so, the way Drake and her acted in bed made it seem like they were 30 seconds away from getting it on once the cameras turned off, which led to several comments saying Bobby was sleeping her way to success. I feel like a third wheel watching this. I didn't take you off, you fell off. Drake is a menace. One thing that really defines Bobby's whole image is this I don't care what people think attitude. That's the version of herself she's shown online. Of course, it's not completely real. Nobody is immune to other people's opinions. but it's the role she leaned into. And as things play out, that image starts to crack. After the Drake episode dropped, it pulled in about 3.3 million views, and looked like the boost she needed to launch the podcast. On paper, it should have set everything up. What actually followed was a steady drop. The KD episode garnered around 769,000 views. The Kevin Gates one fell to 173,000, the Trevor Wallace episode only got 136,000, and now the Bert Kreischer episode is sitting at a pitiful 35,000 views. There were even a couple episodes that performed worse and got deleted, but we'll get to those in a second. A drop after a viral video is normal. When something blows up, only a portion of that audience sticks around. If people like you and the content holds up, you usually keep a decent chunk of them. That just hasn't happened here. The numbers show that most viewers came for Drake and didn't feel a reason to stay, and to be honest, that makes complete sense. Drake is one of the biggest names on the planet. He brings in attention on his own. Even if the format stayed exactly the same, stronger questions, better pacing, or just a more engaging presence could have convinced more people to subscribe. And there lies the problem. When she's not playing her deadpan character, hell, even when she's playing her deadpan character, the gimmick gets old and the layer of irony gets shed and reveals a boring person underneath. Back to those 2 deleted episodes, currently they are not accessible because my research team is very bad at their job, and they're currently being put into a grape press. It's only through word of mouth that Bobby had 2 interviews after her second Drake interview that got under 10,000 views, but it's something that is very likely. Bobby Althoff has a tendency to delete content that does poorly in the views department. She's even admitted to this in an interview before.
10, 15, 20 videos a day, getting no views. And I thought it was so cringe, but I was like, well, whatever. I would delete them, of course, after a day because I didn't want to leave a history of me failing. I was not going to let them see that for long, but I had a thing that was like, if in 24 hours it doesn't go viral, it gets deleted.
This goes against literally her entire brand and persona that she has portrayed online, and comes across as putting on a mask to people that found that quality about her endearing. You can see the insecurity dripping out of her during all of her new interviews, and it becomes off-putting to viewers that want to see the opposite. Even on her own channel, she gets roasted by people like Kevin Durant.
You the hottest out.
I was what?
You were the hottest white girl out at the time. I don't know, but you were kind of hot for
and then they just all thought it was me.
To try combating this, Bobby has implemented a new strategy that many have tried and none have succeeded at, which is to acknowledge how much she has fallen off and direct more attention to it, hoping it will have the opposite effect, when in reality, it just cements the public's perspective that she's a has-been. It's like peeing your pants in public, and instead of going to get a new pair of pants, you grab a megaphone and announce it to the entire library that you have pissed your pants and to come check it out. One of the rules of being an e-celeb that should be carved into the 10 commandments of online content creation is at some point, you can't read your comments, especially if you are easily flustered. It's something echoed by literally every content creator out there, and it's pretty easy to do once you have the hang of things. Bobby does the opposite. She even said that she watched a 45-minute YouTube video talking about her downfall, so there's even a chance that she could be watching this right now. Hi, Bobby.
Do you remember how well I was doing 2 years ago?
You were huge.
Yeah,
And now you feel irrelevant,
I am.
obsolete,
Yeah.
unpopular,
Yeah, thank you.
broke,
I'm all of those
tossed
things.
aside.
Yeah.
This anger and inability to take criticism eventually flooded out when she would go onto TikTok crying about how whenever she posts her boyfriend, all the comments talk about how she's run through.
Today I posted a video of me and my boyfriend, and so many of the comments every single time I post him, which we've been together for a year, but without fail, every single time I post him, all of the comments are about how I'm ran through, and oh, look, another one, or he probably doesn't know how ran through she is, or just mean. Sometimes it's like especially harder, like on Sundays I don't have my kids, they're with their dad, and I get to sit here and I read comments and I shouldn't, but it's like, it's so hurtful.
In a rare shift from her usual content, Bobby used her platform to speak on something more serious. After a close family friend, Felix Gomez, was detained by ICE outside a Home Depot in Corona, California, she took that situation and made it public. She filmed outside the ICE detention center in Adelanto, where he was being held, standing alongside his niece and his pastor. At one point, she said that people had warned her to stay away from politics if she wanted to keep making the same money online. She then admitted that she had voted for Trump in the first election, and that he should come on her awesome new podcast to talk about stuff, stating, "I think that perhaps you surround yourself with people who agree with you, and maybe you need to hear another perspective." Up until this point, anyone assessing Bobby's situation would assume that her career kept sliding into more irrelevancy. And while that kind of seems to be the case, it also isn't at the same time. I call this phenomenon Schrodinger's e-celebrity, the state in which a particular online celebrity is irrelevant in terms of pure metrics and view count, but still gets articles written, obtains brand deals, and generally financially profits from endeavors usually only reserved for A-listers. Around the same time Bobby announced season 2 of her podcast, several tabloid outlets all ran pieces painting Bobby in a sympathetic light, all while ignoring the deleted episodes, metrics, and dwindling view counts, of course. The amount of glazing in these articles is next level. They even included romanticized beauty shots where she poses dramatically for the camera, with the Ellie article stating, "In the 2 years between Drake episodes 1 and 2, Althoff has been exposed to a lot. Her daily life has remained steady in many ways. If she's not working, she's usually at home with her 2 daughters and her boyfriend Tyler Hawkins, a basketball player in the NBA's G League, and she's remained close with the same friend group she had pre-TikTok. She's found she loves interviewing people, and has developed real connections with some of the celebrities that have been on her show." These articles were just the start too. Adore Me, a lingerie company, announced their new collection of Valentine's Day apparel featuring Bobby. Netflix announced that Bobby would be starring in their comedy special Netflix is a Joke, selling tickets for $93 and performing her show to a live audience. Protagonist Pictures announced Bobby would be starring in a new rom-com called Love Language. This all sounds like a joke the more I read, but I promise it's all real. Finally, to round it off, she announced a development deal to produce, write, and star in a TV comedy, which she described as a cross between Dave and The Office, based loosely on her own rise to fame. And her other new podcast featuring a co-host that she went viral with a year ago.
Hi guys, welcome to our show.
Welcome to our show.
What's it called? Suki, should we say it at the same
It's
time?
called See This That Bullshit.
That's not what it's called.
See This That BS.
Seeing all these brand deals, roles, shows, promotions all lined up together looks absurd just thinking about it. The disconnect between the amount of people that watch her on YouTube is just so severe that you have to think whoever is giving her these roles needs to be fired. But it's somehow still happening. Immediately, a massive question rose to thousands of viewers' minds. How? How is this even possible? How does the girl that can't even crack 100k views get a Netflix deal, a TV show, and a brand promotion? To answer that question, we first must go back to a year before all of this was announced. As I covered on my previous videos, for a majority of her career, Bobby has been signed to the WME Talent Agency, the same agency that covers Drake. In November of 2024, she would switch agencies and get signed into UTA. Big names under UTA include Timothy Chalamet, Seth Rogen, 21 Savage, and Kylie Minogue. This is not some small talent agency. This is a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate with money to throw around. I'm sure you can connect the dots from there. It's very likely that her new talent agency wants to make good on their investment, so there's a non-zero chance that they pulled some strings to get tabloids making nice articles about her, as well as landing her deals with Netflix and rom-com shows. It could also be that by being in the LA world for enough time, Bobby had made enough connections and met the right people to just get lucky enough landing these roles. Realistically, it's a combination of both. At this point, point, it's hard to imagine that Bobby will drop anything that changes the narrative surrounding her. People already have their opinions locked in. And when it comes to the whole industry plant conversation, this is where it gets interesting. People love to throw around the word industry plant. They say it about everyone. You hear it with streamers like Kai Cenat and a bunch of others. Most of the time, it's just noise. But in Bobby's case, there might actually be something to it. Not just in the way people usually mean it. Industry plant isn't the right word. It's more like industry investment. Someone that a big corporation doesn't want to lose money on. It doesn't feel like she was planted from day one. She clearly built something on her own early on with her TikTok growth. Where things start to shift is after she got picked up by a major talent agency. That's when everything accelerated way too fast. Suddenly, she had access to people and platforms that didn't really line up with where she was at. That probably explains how she landed interviews with someone like Drake, and even got coverage from outlets that normally wouldn't give her a second look. That's not even mentioning she's getting Netflix bookings, South by Southwest film premieres, Forbes 30 Under 30, and coordinated press campaigns across LA and People, all while her podcast episodes are averaging under 200,000 views, and she's quietly deleting the ones that bomb. The access she has versus the audience she commands is completely out of proportion, and that disconnect is worth making explicit. It's not like people are calling her an industry plant as a throwaway insult anymore. The evidence is in the numbers. It really does feel like there was a push happening behind the scenes. Like her agency saw potential, saw the numbers, and tried to fast-track her into something bigger. And to be fair, that's not unusual. Agencies do it all the time. The difference here is that the audience didn't fully buy into it. On top of that, the style she was known for wasn't exactly new. That awkward, uncomfortable interview approach has been done before, and done really well. You look at people like Eric Andre or even Matan Evan, and they've pushed that concept way further. So when Bobby came in with her version of it, it felt like something people had already seen, just packaged differently. Some people theorize that it could be a situation like a show similar to Star Trek or any legacy media properties. In some cases, shows like New Star Trek can barely crack 100k, much less even 50k, but for some reason, they still get renewed for more and more seasons. Maybe it's a situation like that.
The viewership on like the Strange New Worlds program, it's in like the thousands.
Oh my god.
Maybe tens of thousands.
Okay.
Like a very, very low-end YouTube channel.
The issue is that brands like Star Trek could still be profitable with other venues like merch, collaborations, and just owning the star power of the brand. But what does Bobby Eltoff have? The conclusion I'm forced to come to is that she very likely is genuinely an industry plant, or at least heavily boosted artificially by mega conglomerates to probably get a better return on investment. Or maybe she's just friends with someone at these companies. It's hard to say. Maybe there's an entire secret industry dedicated towards making fake celebrities. Also, Maria Menounos and the Cheddar News guy at Quick Trip have something to talk about. You could make theories till you go crazy. In the end, Bobby's story feels like someone who built a small following, got picked up by a massive machine, and then got overwhelmed by how fast everything moved. That jump from regular creator to full-blown internet celebrity happened too quickly, and it didn't leave much room to actually grow into it. That's the part people don't really talk about. The slow climb matters. That's what teaches you how to handle attention, criticism, and pressure. When that process gets skipped, it catches up to you, and that's kind of where she ended up. Constant backlash, constant scrutiny, and no real way to step away from it because everything is public. At the end of the day, not everyone is built for that kind of life. Being an internet celebrity sounds great until it actually happens. For some people, it works out. For others, it doesn't. And sometimes, staying a normal person is the better outcome. And once the public starts questioning why someone was famous in the first place, the fall-off becomes brutal. The Island Boys went from practically printing money,
Bro, we were making $40,000 a day. More than that.
to drowning in debt.
They did you dirty? How?
Yeah, they owe me about like $150,000.
For a split second, they had the world's attention. They could have pivoted, cleaned up their image, maybe even dropped a halfway decent track. But instead, they crashed hard.
Hey, don't touch me or what? Bro, what? Oh my God! What the fuck? I don't care, bro. You profiling me.
TikTok personality known as Kodiak Red is in trouble with the law again.
The judge gave Frank Venegas bail this afternoon for having a gun without a serial number and oxy pills.
What started as a meme quickly spiraled into a spectacle of fights, arrests, cringy interviews, and desperate attempts to stay relevant. And instead of evolving into legit hip-hop artists, they became a cautionary tale on what not to do after your 15 minutes of fame. Twins Alex Fly Soldier and Frankie Kodiak Red had a rough childhood. Their father passed away from a heart attack when they were just 5 years old, and with no father figure to steer them straight, the two fell into a life of crime from a young age, engaging in all sorts of illegal activities like burglary, larceny, assault, battery, and even grand theft auto.
So we was out here wilding and stuff like that. Our mom, she made sure that we had a roof, everything like what's required. But even the police know, like police back in our city, they knew that our mom couldn't control us. Like nobody. We were out of control. She was good. She did everything she could, but we was out of control. We thought we could do whatever we want, and we got away with it because when you're a little kid, you know, it's like slapping the wrist when you get in the system, you know?
The twins spent most of their teenage years bouncing in and out of jail, eventually getting kicked out by their mother when they had just turned 18. With nowhere left to go, the two decided to pursue a career on social media. They spent most of the money they had left on tattoos to emulate the look of SoundCloud rappers.
How much did you spend on all your tattoos? I spent around like 30K.
And started posting random videos on Instagram and later TikTok.
What is it? They said that we're double trouble. We've been called that a whole lot. Yeah, that's stupid. We've been called that a whole lot, by the way. No, we're hard eyes though. Ooh, you like that shit, huh?
However, while their unusual appearance attracted some attention, the views were too inconsistent to make a stable living off these videos. That is, until one video went viral and changed their lives forever. On October 13th, 2021, the twins dropped a video of themselves singing their Island Boys song in a pool. This took the internet by storm, getting over 5 million views in just a week and tens of millions more on other platforms. It also made the duo world famous practically overnight. However, despite its explosive popularity, the general reception to their video was a lot more mixed than the brothers would have liked. While a few found the song catchy, others, including hip-hop legend Snoop Dogg, were straight up annoyed by just how bad it was.
Boy, I've been trying to make it. I ain't seen it with a gang slang. You ain't
gang, they ain't got to use that word. I'm speechless. Two goofballs in the pool.
But as it turned out, the quality of the song didn't matter at all. What mattered was its incredible meme potential, which resulted in countless parodies and edits, boosting its popularity far beyond the Island Boys' wildest imaginations. What the two failed to realize, however, was that their success had nothing to do with talent or musical ability. Instead, they were the butt of the joke, something for everyone to laugh at. Rather than seeing themselves as the meme they were, the Island Boys convinced themselves that they were the next big thing in hip-hop, a delusion that fell apart when they were booed off stage just seconds into a Miami club performance. They also released a full music video of the song that made them popular, only to get dragged through the mud once again, with comments like, "Have this as my alarm every morning, been waking up 30 minutes earlier just to turn it off. Thank you, Island Boys. Thank you, Island Boys. You saved my brother. He was paralyzed in a fatal car accident. Luckily, when I played this song, he rose and clicked the sound to mute." And this type of hidden talent should absolutely remain hidden. But even after facing the harsh reality of their situation, the two kept posting videos as the Island Boys, since at the end of the day, the money was just too good to walk away from.
We were making $40,000 more than that. I'm not even playing with you. Yeah. 60. We was looking at the thing. It said the top of it said you got $60,000 to do to make. Then the next day we would do that. The next day another 60,000. We're like, man, what the fuck is this?
Unfortunately for the Island Boys, even the money was about to dry up, all because of their poor choices. The first big mistake the twins made was turning down an offer that could have resulted in a long-lasting and more stable career. Shortly after they blew up on the internet, Kodak Black, one of the rappers they modeled their looks after, offered to sign them into his label, but the two refused the offer completely, stating that they wanted to stay independent. Fly Soldier later explained his reasoning in more detail, stating, "I'm not currently signed to no label. I'm independent, and so far I'm doing pretty good when it comes to the money, because I feel like labels just take my money and I'm doing pretty good right now. I got racks." However, this highlights one of the Island Boys' biggest flaws, one that sticks with them throughout their downfall: their inflated ego and ignorance when it comes to their own talent. The twins believe they're entrepreneurial geniuses who always make the right decisions, and nowhere is this more obvious than their appearance on Logan Paul's Impulsive podcast, led by George simply entertaining the idea that they could ever go broke, and turned what was nothing more than friendly advice into a full-blown argument. Though given what happened next, George's advice would have actually helped them survive. Not long after their impulsive appearance, the Island Boys meme started to fade away, and the crazy amounts of money they were earning at the height of their popularity vanished alongside it. Their views dropped to a fraction of what they once were, booking slowed to a trickle, and the people that once obsessed with clowning on them simply moved on. By the time the twins realized the severity of their situation, it was already too late. Instead of prepping for their inevitable fall-off, they spent most of what they earned on cars and jewelry to flex on social media. In an even worse financial move, they even sold the rights to their viral song to a man named Check the Star, so when the income dried up, they had nothing left. In a desperate attempt to stay relevant, the Island Boys resorted to increasingly erratic behavior, like starting a fake beef with one another on which one of the two was responsible for their success.
Red, you want to be just like me. You want to be just like me. Red, you want to do everything. Red, I made Island Boys. Follow the leader. Red, follow the leader. I made Island Boys. You made Island Boys. I'm the one that told you let's get in the Airbnb. I'm the one that. But I made Island Boys though. I made Island Boys. Told you to change it up. I made Island Boys. I'm the one that, and I'm the one that made the actual bars. I made bars. Okay, let me talk.
And even believing that their dramatic exit on Logan's podcast was the right thing to do.
Do you guys regret walking off that podcast?
No, I wouldn't regret it. I went probably 5 times more viral than in that podcast than I probably would have if I just would have had like a regular sit down and talk.
Not understanding that this kind of entitled behavior was a major contributor to their downfall. After all, no one wants to support self-absorbed pricks who think they're better than everyone else just because they went viral once. As a comment on YouTube which described them perfectly, simply stated, "They are perfect examples of internet making the wrong people famous." Even then, the Island Boys still had the chance to make something off their dying career. They already had millions of followers across social media. All they had to do was give these followers a reason to stick around. A potential route for them could have been to work on their music and to try and become real hip-hop artists, but that would have meant putting in real work that the twins clearly weren't interested in. Instead, they chased the next viral moment, hoping to cash in big once again, without lifting a finger. And after much deliberation, Fly Soldier and Kodiak Red found the shortcut they were looking for. However, much to their dismay, this idea backfired spectacularly, eroding the little reputation they had left on the internet. In April of 2023, the two shocked the internet with their announcement of their joint OF account, with a now deleted post on Twitter. Although many assumed it had to be a joke, it turned out to be completely real, and even more disturbing than anyone ever expected. Over the next few months, the twins kept posting increasingly salacious pictures with each other, all while promoting their OF account. But even all of that wasn't enough to prepare for what came next. On the 1st of August 2023, a video of them making out with each other started making rounds on the internet, to the complete shock and horror of anyone who came across it. This was disgusting on so many different levels, but it worked. The Island Boys went viral once again, only this time it was for all the wrong reasons. However, to them, this was a complete victory.
Something to talk about because people really don't like us, so like, hey, look, we got something on, and they kissed each other, so we kind of knew it would go viral.
But before they had the chance to celebrate their rekindled success, it went away faster than they would have liked, leaving them stranded with no stable source of income for a second time. And unlike their previous fall-off, where they could have still retained some viewers by improving their music, they didn't have that option anymore. No self-respecting artist was going to work with them ever again, or offer to sign them to his label.
So what's going on with you two kissing each other and shit?
Bro, shut your ass up before I break this shit.
Dude, hey, yo, that ass, I would love to see you try that shit.
Bro, what are you talking
I would love to see you try that shit. Who the fuck are you standing up in front of the
The OF stunt eroded any respect people had left for them, and it was only downhill from here. During this time, the Island Boys tried to maintain their image of wealthy gangsters who still owned mega mansions, sports cars, and diamond jewelry, when in reality, most of it was fake, and the Island Boys were drowning in debt.
They did poker
They're
dirty.
Crazy, yeah.
They did you dirty? How?
They owe me about like $150,000.
From what? Your percentage of the cameo money?
Yeah.
Is that the only money they're bringing in?
Mostly, maybe a little bit on TikTok, but I mean, it's pretty much run dry at this point.
Despite their best efforts, the twins couldn't maintain the rich boy facade forever. They started getting more and more desperate with each passing day, and even lowered their cameo price from $135 in the beginning to just $30 in a last-ditch effort to make some money. But when that didn't work either, they decided to hang out with Jack Doherty of all people, just to regain some sense of relevancy. Even then, they couldn't resist the urge to stir up drama and pick fights at every chance they got, willing to do whatever it took for that viral moment to keep them in the spotlight.
I get it, but no one in the street.
Yo! Oh, shit!
Stop! Stop! Stop!
What? What?
Are you kidding me?
What's up?
Yo, chill. What the fuck?
Bro, don't touch me, bro. You don't touch me or what? Bro, what? Bro, what?
Oh my god!
It even got to the point where the two were accused of hitting Jack's girlfriend.
Appreciate the money I made off you guys. It was cool. Yup, you guys worked for me. Nice fucking try, dumbass. Nice try.
What's good? What's good? Hey, not with me around. What's good? We're not. Nobody fight. Nobody fight. Nobody fight.
But as you might imagine, hanging with Jack Doherty was never the right move, especially if they wanted to win back even a portion of their audience. And with Jack losing everything he had, the Island Boys were left without a home on the internet yet again, forcing Alex and Frankie to become even more desperate and sacrifice their dignity in exchange for fleeting moments of fame. Alex, for instance, had a baby a few months ago. Unfortunately, the baby wasn't perfectly healthy and had to be put in the NICU until it could recover. However, instead of taking care of his wife and child, Alex decided to use his son's tragic health to farm TikTok views.
So it goes by God always with me, and let's start reading it.
Fortunately, the baby survived and is in much better condition now, but that has only given Alex more opportunities to use him for content.
I think he looks like Fly. Yeah, he looks a lot like me.
At least he's spending time with his wife and child. Frankie's situation, on the other hand, is 10 times worse.
TikTok personality known as Kodiak Red is in trouble with the law again.
The judge gave Frank Venegas bail this afternoon for having a gun without a serial number and oxy pills.
He was arrested in May of 2023 for domestic battery and allegedly slapping his girlfriend before pushing her into a shallow pool, injuring her chin. More recently, he was arrested again in February 2025 after officers found drugs and a gun without a serial number in his car. A few months ago, Alex and Kaylee posted a video updating everyone on Frankie's situation, and according to them, he's practically homeless at this point due to his addiction.
He's getting evicted. He hasn't paid a bill. Even his mom would tell me before.
And listen, that's another problem on why you don't use.
They also claimed that he didn't pay for the cars the twins bought for months, bringing Alex's credit score down with him.
He's brought Alex's credit down so much while we're in the middle of looking for a house, and it's not even his fault, it's his brother's fault, because his brother hasn't paid his car in 4 months, and we could show you guys the voicemails of the car people calling him every single day saying, where is a payment?
Unfortunately for both brothers, the internet doesn't have any sympathy left for either of them, with comments stating, "This is why you don't start an OF with your twin brother," and they should have listened to George Janko's financial advice. Put simply, the Island Boys have lost everything they gained back in 2021, and there's nothing they can do to get it back. Their ego, overconfidence, and questionable antics have also burned down any opportunities they could have had after the meme died down. The only option they have now is to slowly fade into internet obscurity, where the only thing people would remember about them is the time that they were traumatized by seeing the Island Boys OF content on Twitter. And even if by some miracle they manage to go viral again, it's only a matter of time before they find themselves right back in the same desperate situation. But sometimes the internet does not just move on, it starts laughing at the person it created. From going viral overnight to now drifting into irrelevance. From rubbing shoulders with the biggest celebrities every week, to now getting kicked out of major sporting events. From bragging about $100,000 dinner bills at his luxury steakhouses, to watching his empire crumble right before his eyes, Salt Bae's story is a textbook example of how internet fame can vanish just as fast as it arrives, especially when ego takes the spotlight, and everyone sees the attention-hungry narcissist man behind the meme. Though, before it all came crashing down, Salt Bae's rags to riches story was quite the inspiration. Nusret Göçe started his life in a small Turkish village called Pazli, with limited resources and poor infrastructure. His father also worked as an ordinary mine worker, which unfortunately didn't pay enough to support a family. Due to the family's financial struggles, Nusret had to leave school at the age of 13 and start working as an apprentice at a butcher shop in Istanbul. And while Nusret had to work 13 grueling hours a day every day without a single day off, this job marked the beginning of his journey in the food industry, with him going on to work at various steakhouses across Turkey as years went by. Then, in 2007, he secured a $3,400 bank loan to travel across multiple countries and learn more about their meat industries and the steakhouse businesses. After doing this for 3 years, he returned to Turkey in 2010 and opened his very own steakhouse. It was a fairly small restaurant with just 8 tables and a handful of staff. Despite this, Nusret's steakhouse managed to catch the attention of high-end clientele, including the Turkish billionaire Ferit Şahenk, who was so impressed by the quality of food and service that he offered to invest and help Nusret branch out not just in Turkey, but across the Middle East. By the end of 2016, Nusret was already a fairly successful businessman. What he didn't know, however, was that his luck was about to change once again. On January 7th, 2017, he posted a video of himself dressed in a tight white t-shirt and dark sunglasses while slicing meat, and sprinkling salt on it in the most unusual ways. This went viral, racking up millions of views and shooting Nusret into internet stardom practically overnight. The moment of him pouring the salt got turned into a meme as well, making him even more popular than just the viral clip, with people now referring to him as the quote Salt Bae. Lamau, Salt Bae is at the other side of the world and has no idea he's an instant classic with Black Twitter. It's gonna be crazy to tell kids, oh yeah, that's Salt Bae, the way my dad told me about Paul Newman. I dressed up as Salt Bae for Halloween. From parody skits on national television
Shh, it's happening!
to professional athletes celebrating with his signature move on the biggest stages, Salt Bae had quickly become one of the most recognizable faces on the internet. This was a powerful position to be in, and Nusret understood this better than anyone else, because not long after he went viral, Salt Bae announced plans to open luxury restaurants in both New York and London that same month, followed by several more locations worldwide over the upcoming months. Now, the menu in these new restaurants was outrageously expensive, including things like a $100 burger, $10 for a can of Red Bull, $25 for a single dessert, and the star of the show, the $1,800 24-karat gold-coated tomahawk steak. Despite this, Salt Bae's restaurants were a massive hit almost instantly, with people traveling to them from around the world. More than the food itself, people were buying into an exclusive, over-the-top experience just for the chance to see the man himself in person.
Yes, sir.
Week after week, his restaurants attracted the biggest names in sports, music, films and beyond. Salt Bae had successfully turned a viral internet moment into a multi-million-dollar global brand. But behind all of the gold stakes and celebrity selfies, the reality was far from glamorous. Because as it turned out, when it came to the actual food, Salt Bae's empire was style over substance. His London steakhouse, for example, was ranked among the bottom 33% of restaurants in the city on TripAdvisor, scoring a measly 2.9 stars with over 350 reviews, out of which 167 labeled it as outright terrible, with reviews like "bad food at crazy prices, all seen and zero substance. The biggest scam ever. Food was undercooked and tasted awful," as well as "terrible service, way too expensive for being treated like third-class citizens." To make matters even worse, his burger joint in New York was branded as the worst restaurant in the city, with professional critics describing the food using phrases like "a little rubbery and low on flavor," "mundane, somewhat tough and rather bland," "shoe leather tough," and "public ripoff #1. You'd think that after seeing such terrible reception, Nusret would focus on eliminating those issues. However, the Salt Bae did not care one bit. He viewed himself as some sort of icon, saying things like, "Now everybody wants to be a butcher because of me. Now if you ask a kid, they want to be Salt Bae. They see me as an idol. I'm an inspiration to a lot of people in a very short period of time." It was clear that his instant online fame had inflated his ego beyond bounds. The quality of food, the customer experience, it all took a back seat. What mattered most was the performance. He even started bragging openly on social media, sharing receipts of customers spending over $100,000 on a single meal, using them like trophies to show off his status. And it wasn't long before the brand stopped being about food entirely and became all about him. He filled his feed with shirtless videos, struck poses like a runway model, and carried himself like an A-list celebrity. But while the cameras were still rolling and the likes kept coming, behind the scenes, everything was starting to go downhill. The first domino fell in September 2018, when a fire stunt meant to impress diners went horribly wrong.
Oh my god! Ah! Ay, yandı! Oh my god!
Flames shot out of control, injuring 4 people, including Czech internet personality Tinus Treknikova. She suffered third-degree burns over 35% of her body and was hospitalized for months. And while she managed to survive, her appearance was altered permanently. The incident made international headlines, yet the Salt Bae made no public statements or apologies, pretending like the incident never even happened. But his silence was just the tip of the iceberg, because while his customers were fighting for their lives, he was busy feeding a dictator. That same month, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife visited Salt Bae's restaurant in Istanbul, where they were treated to a lavish multi-$1,000 meal. And to add insult to injury, this all happened while Venezuela was in the midst of a devastating food crisis, with over 64% of the country's population losing an average of 11 kilograms or over 25 pounds due to food shortages and widespread hunger. Any person with even a shred of empathy might have declined to host a man overseeing that suffering. But not only did Salt Bae welcome him with open arms, he posted multiple videos online bragging about it. As you might imagine, the backlash was immediate and intense, and it wasn't confined to behind the screen. Protests broke out in front of his restaurants in Miami and New York. The issue even resonated with the US Senate, with Senator Marco Rubio stating, "I don't know who this weirdo Salt Bae is, but the guy he is so proud of to host is not the president of Venezuela. He is actually the overweight dictator of a nation where 30% of people only eat once a day, and infants are suffering from malnutrition." He eventually deleted the videos, but true to form, he never offered an apology. Because for Salt Bae, the performance always mattered more than the people. But Salt Bae's disregard didn't stop at bad reviews, burning guests, or feeding dictators. Things were even uglier behind the kitchen door. It all came to light in April of 2023, when Business Insider published an investigation report, uncovering a string of lawsuits and disturbing allegations that revealed an empire built on fear, exploitation, and control. Former staff described Salt Bae as a petty tyrant obsessed with image, power, and excess, with a former manager stating, "His world was nothing but Instagram and fame. The sensation was him. He ended up getting this godlike complex." Employees were fired without warning, sometimes for accidentally breaking a glass or simply wearing the wrong shirt. A bartender in London said working there felt like being in the Hunger Games. Another even compared Salt Bae to being a straight-up dictator. And that wasn't even the worst of it. Workers were forced to stage fake lines outside during slow hours and even sleep overnight in the restaurant during the COVID-19 pandemic and social unrest, all without getting paid overtime. And while he flaunted his wealth online, employees say he stole tips and punished mistakes by slashing workers' pay. In multiple lawsuits, employees alleged that management skimmed off 3% of tips or withheld them entirely, especially when high-profile celebrities were dining. A class action suit even stated that the management systematically fired each waiter who complained about not getting paid tips. One 19-year-old food runner had $140 deducted from her pay for delivering a bag of leftover steak to the wrong table. Another had $800 in tips slashed because a customer left without paying, as if she was supposed to hunt down the dine and dashes and collect the bill. But for the women working under Salt Bae, the exploitation went a level deeper, into humiliation, harassment, and outright abuse. A bartender, for instance, was told to wear a quote, short skirt, high heels, and revealing top on her first day. When she protested, she was harassed by male co-workers. One even followed her home. And just days after requesting to wear a standard uniform, she was fired. Another lawsuit claimed that a female server was denied a promotion because Salt Bae allegedly didn't find her physically appealing enough. And if all this wasn't bad enough, the horrendous culture of his restaurants reached the customers as well. Employees were routinely told to lie to customers, claiming cheaper cuts were premium, pouring leftover wine into new glasses, and even falsely labeling steaks as halal. Quote, "It was just about trying to get almost as much money out of the people who were coming through the door." But even all this wasn't enough to satisfy the Salt Bae's ego. Eventually, his arrogance and sense of untouchable fame pushed him into doing something extreme in front of the whole world, resulting in the biggest public humiliation of his career. It happened on December 18th, 2022, when Argentina won the FIFA World Cup by beating France in a historic final. Fans were celebrating and players were emotional. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, Salt Bae breached the pitch, crashed the moment, and acted like he belonged there. He grabbed Lionel Messi, one of the biggest athletes in the world, at the most significant moment of his career, just to pester him for a photo. Then he somehow found a way to make this even worse, by grabbing the actual World Cup trophy and posing with it, as if he were part of the winning team. With the entire world watching, these cringeworthy moments sparked a wave of online backlash as massive as the viral fame that once made him, with comments reading, "This is the example of people living without feeling shame at all. TF does this guy have to do with this hard-earned victory? Clout chasing on an epic level. What an idiot that guy is." FIFA eventually launched an investigation into the incident, while also banning him from all future events. A ban that seems to be effective to this day, as he was publicly kicked out of the UEFA Champions League final after party on June 1st, 2025, for trying to enter uninvited. He tried to save face by signing autographs outside, and claimed he wasn't there for the party, but for his quote, thousands of fans who wanted to see him. But the internet didn't buy the excuses one bit. Why is he even there in the first place? He's a nobody and hanger-on. Yeah, go and throw your salt somewhere else. That said, this mockery from the internet wasn't as intense as it should have been. Not because people like him now, but because most simply don't care. He's a mostly forgotten relic of the past, and after years of scamming customers with mediocre food, exploiting employees, and humiliating himself on the world stage, Salt Bae is finally paying the price. Most of his US steakhouses have shut down, his London restaurant is seeing a 50% drop in profits, and his Dubai location isn't doing much better either. With businesses in decline, his social media numbers plummeting, and the world turning on him, Salt Bae's story is well and truly over. With some patience, he could have easily ascended to the status of universally beloved figure like Gordon Ramsay. The final story shows how old controversies can keep resurfacing once a viral creator loses the benefit of the doubt. Only JS needs to be studied for what not to do as a content creator.
Me for now. Not checking my emails in a timely manner. Please leave me the f alone.
She had everything a modern-day creator could ask for, from millions of TikTok followers to help her content reach as many people as possible, to nearly 5 million subscribers on YouTube, allowing her to earn good money with ad revenue and sponsorships on long-form content. But it wasn't long before a string of self-sabotaging controversies.
Everybody here that I love you no matter your sex, your gender, your sexuality, your faith, or your race.
Goofy alert, guess that didn't age well, cause this you. At the bottom, calling someone the hard ER, a word used to oppress black people in my community.
Embarrassing exposés.
We found how she got the rest of the screenshot. It turns out you can search Reddit for recent deleted posts. We used the script in the screenshot and saw that she commented it.
And public meltdowns.
I forget to eat for days. I procrastinate sleep for more days. I barely text my family back, and I just had to move apartments because my address got leaked, and you're gonna throw a fit because I didn't make you my priority?
Turned her into the punching bag of the internet, and her situation has only gotten worse since. From political content no one asked for, to explicit content no one expected. She's throwing everything at the wall in a desperate attempt to reclaim the relevance she once had. Unfortunately for the once popular TikToker, it's not working out as well as she likely hoped it would. Though, as you'll see throughout this video, she had a very real chance of regaining her audience. But in typical only JS fashion, she somehow managed to throw it all away. Now, I've already made a video going over her major controversy in great detail, but if you haven't watched that video or need a quick refresher, here's a super fast recap to get you up to speed. Isabella Avila, aka Bella Rose, started her content creation journey on TikTok back in 2018. There, her fun fact and life hack videos allowed her to gather a large audience that loved her content.
You can tell which one of your friends likes who by just paying attention a little bit more. If you're in a group and something funny happens or somebody tells a joke, people tend to be laughing while looking at the person they like most.
She also used this newfound success to start a YouTube channel with long-form content on topics like the meaning of life, where are the aliens, and hypnosis is real.
But hypnosis, while it can be described as such, is so much deeper than mind control. It's real and it's not a hoax. The future of hypnosis will be to fully realize the incredible potential of our natural hypnotic abilities. It allows us to open up, relax, change, laugh, and it teaches us to have a little bit more fun.
And this proved to be just as successful as her TikToks. But then, Bella made a single critical mistake that made her lose everything, kicking off the chain reaction that's continuing to drag her down to this day. And it all started with her accusing another creator of stealing her content back in July of 2020. The creator she called out proved that he didn't steal anything from her and that he only took information from the same article as her.
People born in March are way more likely to have asthma, and I can actually speak to this one because my little sister, the only one born in March, has asthma.
People born in March are actually more likely to have asthma.
This on its own was an embarrassing defeat for Bella, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. You see, seeing this response made her viewers realize that she was copying her content from other places. So they began looking at her other videos to see the extent of this plagiarism, and what they found was shocking to say the least. Put simply, Bella was a certified content thief who had no issues with stealing others' content word for word, bar for bar, going as far back as the very first video she uploaded on YouTube.
I have absolute proof that God does not exist. This proof is absolute, but immaterial. You can't see it or measure it, but it exists. It's beyond comprehension, and thus we should not even question it. It's everywhere, at all times. You just need to have faith that it's there and that it's truth.
Her short-form TikTok videos weren't any better either.
Just trying to confirm, everybody's tired all the time, right? No matter how much sleep we get or caffeine we consume, but also we have a lot of trouble even just falling asleep, and we're constantly hungry, but also kind of always nauseous, and we're chugging more water than any other generation has ever chugged before, yet we're still dehydrated, and we're losing hair and getting wrinkles, but also still have acne, despite having the most intense skincare routine, and we're spending every waking moment either working or cleaning, but feeling like nothing ever actually gets accomplished.
To make matters worse, when one creator she stole from, Everyday Alex, called her out on it, she claimed that she took the idea from an old comment on Reddit. Alex told her to prove this claim, and shockingly, she actually did.
I found the screenshot. It's this one, and I took the screenshot March 20th, 2020.
Had things ended here, Bella might have walked away from the plagiarism controversy with at least some dignity intact. But as it turned out, she faked the whole thing by posting the comment herself, deleting it, and then changing the screenshot date.
We found how she got the rest of the screenshot. It turns out you can search Reddit for recent deleted posts. We used the script in the screenshot and saw that she commented it. She commented on a different subreddit where she thought nobody would see, and then deleted it so that she had the convincing looking thing for her screenshot. She actually posted it twice because there's some typos in the first one, and then she changed the date on the screenshot, which you can do easily.
This was the final straw that made her audience lose the respect they once had for her. What she didn't realize was that things were about to get much worse, because in 2021, leaked screenshots began circulating online, revealing the vile messages she had sent to someone back in 2016. These included her calling this person a dumb C-word and a piece of shit, as well as hoping that their parents get cancer and that everyone they love died. Worst of all, however, she called them a hard R N-word lover because they were in a relationship with a black person at the time. Something that, as most people on the internet agreed, was a special kind of horrible.
She didn't just say the N-word. It's not like she was mouthing it and said the words in a song. There are levels to it. There's the white influencer dancing and then mouthing the words with an A at the end. There's calling someone the N-word. There's calling someone the N-word with a hard R at the end. And then there's calling someone a n***ver. A slur is a slur, but to insult someone for being in a relationship with a black person by calling them a n***ver, it does not get any worse than that.
The backlash prompted her to post the standard influencer apology video, complete with the obligatory fake tears. The only thing people liked about this apology was her promise to work with black creators to raise awareness on the issue of racism.
I want to take this time to take a step back and share my platform with some amazing black creators who are going to tell their story to try and educate others on the trauma that happens when we use this kind of language.
However, instead of following through on this promise, she allegedly ghosted those black creators. But what did she do when they called her out on it? Did she apologize and correct her mistake? Well, no. She responded by throwing a tantrum in her car instead.
Today's episode of What Are People Mad at Me For Now? Not checking my emails in a timely manner. I wish I was joking. Forgot to respond to an email from this creator that wanted to collab with me, and instead of just like hitting me up again, they made 7 videos about it! Can you please leave me the f*** alone? I have a diagnosed neurological disorder that makes me forget things and procrastinate due to time blindness. I forget to eat for days. I procrastinate sleep for more days. I barely text my family back, and I just had to move apartments because my address got leaked, and you're gonna throw a fit because I didn't make you my priority?
As a comment on YouTube pointed out, it's almost like she's allergic to taking accountability. And if that wasn't bad enough, it came out that she didn't even write the apology herself.
Had someone ghostwrite their apology so that they didn't lose their brand deals.
The person that helped you write the apology is
me. Hi. I've already talked about it once before on my channel, but immediately after they confirmed it was true with me over text message, I then tried to help them to the best of my ability while still being extremely angry and frustrated. Helped with a good bit of the apology, especially the part about black creatives. When we were both talking about that part in the apology, I really did think that they would hold up their end of the bargain, you know?
This, combined with the blatant content theft, quickly eroded any goodwill she had on the internet, turning her into one of the most hated TikTokers of all time, with a tweet perfectly summarizing the feelings people had towards her, reading, "Was scrolling through my For You page and only Jace's live came up. I feel like I just got hate crimed." Over 448,000 people even signed a petition to get her banned on TikTok. That hate never truly disappeared, and kept quietly eroding the relevance she once held online. Now, at the end of my last video on her, I posed 2 possible futures for Bella. The only options left for her are either to quit right now, or continue posting and slowly fade into internet obscurity forever. She chose the second option, and kept posting content. And unsurprisingly, it's going just as badly as I predicted. Though, before we can get to the sorry state of her online career, we have to talk about a controversy that took place outside of social media, one that could have potentially landed her behind bars. In September of 2024, news came out that Bella's ex-girlfriend, Brittany Lee DeJardo, filed for a restraining order against her. According to Brittany, Bella had a pattern of toxic behavior in her past relationships, and that same pattern was starting to show with her, particularly through verbal abuse. She also claimed that Bella showed up to her house in the middle of the night, even when she specifically told her not to. This behavior, combined with the fact that Bella had access to a firearm, made Brittany feel unsafe in her own home, resulting in her filing for a restraining order. Bella denied those allegations completely, stating that she, quote, "have no history of harassment or abusive behavior." She also implied that Brittany was fabricating the entire story, stating, "Unlike Brittany, I have been respecting her request for no contact for a couple of weeks now, including blocking her on all platforms, and I have not engaged in any behavior that would justify these allegations." Whether she was telling the truth or just trying to dodge yet another controversy remains unclear. The restraining order was dropped in late September after Brittany failed to appear in court, suggesting that she might not have the evidence to back up her claims. But it's also just as likely that everything she said was true, and she simply didn't want to deal with Bella for even one more second. Whatever the case may be, the whole situation only made Bella even more unlikable in the eyes of the internet. This online hate eventually became too much for her to handle, resulting in her essentially retiring from the internet during the latter half of 2024. However, just when it seemed like her career was dead in the water, Bella resurfaced with a video that made people see her in a completely different light. For context, TikTok was on the verge of being banned in the US of January 2025. So Bella returned to the platform on January 19th with a goodbye video of sorts, and right away, something about her felt different.
There's gonna be 2 types of people watching this video right now. You're either gonna see my face and be like, and scroll, and that's fine. Goodbye, I'm sorry. Okay, I get it. Or you're gonna see my face and be like, psychology girl? Life hacks? Like what? You look different since the last time I saw you 2 or 3 years ago. That's crazy. I know that I haven't always used this platform that you guys have given me the wisest. I've made a lot of interesting choices. I could have done a lot of things differently, and I think about it every single day, and I like to think that I've learned and grown from it.
She came across as far more genuine and humble than she had in the past. She acknowledged that she made mistakes, even if she didn't spell out exactly what they were. Still, it felt much more authentic than the cold corporate ghost-written apology she'd posted earlier. This became especially prominent near the end of the video, where she showed her appreciation for the viewers she once had, regardless of how they felt about her now.
I'm hoping that we can keep learning. I know I try to be like the educator on this app or whatever, but I've learned a lot from you guys, and I don't want that to end. Whether you love me, hate me, don't have any feelings, I appreciate you. I'm so grateful for everything this app has given me.
This video was a glimmer of hope for the few people who still wanted to see her improve as a person and succeed. If she had followed through on the direction this video promised, she might have reinvented herself and eventually built a new audience that liked her for who she truly was. However, that's not what happened at all. TikTok didn't get banned, and only Jace went back to looking for a shortcut that would take her back to the top. Admittedly, she did try to do things, quote, the right way, by posting new long-form videos on her YouTube channel. She was likely hoping to attract new viewers who would be interested in hearing what she had to say. Unfortunately for Bella, those were a bigger flop than she could have ever imagined. Her pillow fight video, for instance, barely crawled past 3,000 views, which is an embarrassingly low number for a channel with over 4.8 million subscribers. To put that into perspective, a staggering 99.92% of her subscribers didn't even bother clicking on the video. That said, the ones that did watch it weren't happy about it either, and this type of reception isn't exclusive to this video either. Her video on a topic with as much mainstream appeal as punk music didn't even garner 10,000 views, while somehow getting 3 times as many dislikes as it has likes, with the top comment under this video perfectly summarizing the situation, stating, "She trying mad hard to ignore the fall off." But here's the thing. If Bella truly wanted to make a comeback the right way, by making high quality content that people actually want to watch, she would have focused on improving her craft and tried again with new videos. However, it's clear that all she really cares about is making her way back to the status she once had, no matter what. So instead of becoming a better content creator, Bella decided to pivot and focus on the hottest trend: politics. She started filming the LA riots and posting clips on her TikTok, all in hopes of triggering a debate in the comments and boosting engagement on her content, which in turn would make the social media algorithms promote her content to more people. However, much to her dismay, this tactic failed miserably as well. Not only did it fail to boost views on her channel, but people also weren't buying the so-called altruistic angle, that she was doing it for some greater cause, with a comment on YouTube reading, "She's just recording herself going to protests now to try and make herself look like a good person." Suffice it to say, this wasn't the ticket back to stardom she was looking for. So she pivoted once again and came up with her worst idea yet: explicit content. She created an account on a site called Passes, which is an OF competitor, and started posting tease content locked behind a paywall, costing as much as $80. As we saw with the Island Boys, turning to explicit content like this is often the last-ditch move of a fading creator desperate to hold on to whatever scraps of relevance they have left, and only Jace's case doesn't seem to be much different. But that's not even the worst part, because there's a good chance that even after hitting a new low, it still wasn't worth it, especially considering the abysmal engagement on these lewd posts, suggesting she's barely making any money from this new venture. The only thing this has achieved is bringing some freaks and gooners into a rapidly shrinking fandom. But here's the twist. While her downfall is clear as day for anyone to see, Bella herself is either coping or is actually in denial, since according to a comment she made on her subreddit, things couldn't be better, stating, "I'm saying this as a point, not because like I am proud of it, but my views are at an all-time high after getting cancelled." Her coping aside, at this point she's tried everything she could think of and none of it worked. She even tried to be active in her own subreddit, likely to keep the remaining handful of viewers engaged, but that didn't help much either. That being said, she is still doing whatever she can to rebuild her career, like deleting hate comments to seem more likable to new potential viewers. She was caught doing this back in August of last year, and looking at her socials, she's likely still doing the same, and not being subtle about it at all. Most of her new videos have surprisingly few comments compared to the number of views, and the ones that are still up are almost all positive. It's obvious enough that other viewers are starting to notice it as well, with one viewer calling her out for it on YouTube, stating, "Stop deleting the hate comments, you deserve them, lol." Even her subreddit is quick to remove any negative posts about her, no matter the context or intent. If it's labeled as hate, it's getting deleted, no questions asked. Maybe she thinks that sweeping the criticism under the rug would somehow magically make people like her again. But that's not how you regain the trust of viewers you've already lost. At the end of the day, Bella Rose, aka Only Jace, decided to choose the second option and is now paying for it. Instead of quitting while she still had a presence on the internet, she'll continue posting content until no one even remembers who she was. Could she have reinvented herself and her content and became a popular content creator once again? Possibly. However, that would require months, if not years, of consistent hard work, and that's the kind of work Bella clearly has no interest in doing anymore. Now, all that's left is the slow, inevitable fade into obscurity.